Hitler has taken control over all aspects of German society. Everything. Even micromanaging recreation with a program of forced fun called Strength Through Joy. And if you can't have fun with a gun pointed to your head, are you even trying? Level of fun may vary depending on ethnic or religious background. Early on, Jewish civil rights were taken away, and soon the government organizes violent mobs to smash out windows in Jewish businesses and burn down synagogues. Eventually, all people of Jewish descent were separated into ghettos and camps as part of Hitler's final solution. The full depravity of this ideology was not realized until the end of the war, but there were red flags right from the beginning. Germany is back and on the rise. Who even remembers what they did? I know I sure don't. Take it from old Nev Chamberlain. If you ignore something long enough, eventually it just goes away. Appeasement. That's the ticket. What's the story with appeasement? Well, I'll tell you. It's all about minding your own beeswax and not starting any new wars. Got it? Good. Now you're on the trolley. Get a wiggle on it, Mr. Hitler. The world is your oyster. On March 12, 1938, Hitler annexes Austria without firing a single shot.
That was easy.
Oh, that was easy. Whatever. Who cares about kangaroos anyways? Just so everyone knows, the Sudetenland of Czechoslovakia consists of 50% ethnic German, and 50% is basically 100%. Not too sure about your math, but how about this? We give in to your demands, and you promise to stop. Don't I get a say in this? Hey, shh. The adults are talking here. Oh, okay. So, Hitler, we good? Oh, we good. I pretty much got everything I need. Wait, what do you mean pretty much? Well, you see this little gap here? It's called the Polish Corridor, and it cuts East Prussia off from Germany. And it just looks terrible on a map. Blah. No more. We are super serious. No. What is wrong with that guy? Well, at least we got an agreement. Chamberlain really thought he had secured peace with the Munich Agreement. Sir, Hitler took all of Czechoslovakia. Hitler invaded and claimed all of Czechoslovakia as a protectorate. Then gave Hungary some of the land as part of a deal so they would join the Axis. A deal with Hitler? What could go wrong? At this point, even Hitler was surprised at how much territory he had taken without firing a shot. Next, Italy seizes Albania, gaining control of the Adriatic. However, control of the Mediterranean will be a little trickier. This island here, it's controlled by the British. Later in the war, when Italy opens a front in North Africa, it becomes a huge thorn in their side. So the Axis start bombing it, and bombing it, and bombing it. After over 2 years and 3,000 bombing runs, Malta is given the distinction of being the most heavily bombed country during World War II. Meanwhile, Hitler be Hitlerin and faux show was going to attack Poland, but he didn't want to upset the Russians by attacking a country so close to their border. So, Hitler and Stalin signed a pact of non-aggression, which divided up Europe into zones of influence. You stay over there, I stay over here, no attacky for 10 years. Got it? Good. The world is shocked and confused because communists and fascists get along like cats and dogs. But Stalin could see Germany was on the move and it was time to get in bed with Hitler. And that bed was Poland. September 1st, Germany invades Poland. 2 days later,
I declare
England and France declare war, officially starting World War II. 2 weeks later, Russia invades Poland from the east. The Poles put up a valiant resistance, but they were no match for the two armies. By the end of the war, Poland will suffer the greatest loss of life per capita out of all the countries in World War II. When Hitler invaded Poland, the French mobilized to help their ally. But shortly after crossing the German border into the Saar region, they came into contact with German units. At that point, they turned around and headed back to France. The French had an excellent army at this time. The problem was the senior officers had lived through World War I, and psychologically, they hadn't gotten over it. So instead of preparation and decisive action, there was just a lot of hanging out, drinking, and baguette sword fights. The next 8 months were known as the Phoney War, aka the Boer War, because it was so boring. Because nothing happened, get it? Yeah, you get it, moving on. So Hitler had started his Blitzkrieg, while Allies did a Sitzkrieg. Meanwhile, Russia attacks Finland with a bit of a oh shitskrieg. Russia invaded Finland with an overwhelming force and it should have been an easy victory, but somebody forgot to tell the Finns that. Because they knew the country so well, they used hit-and-run tactics on reindeers and skis and it managed to repel the Russians. In the end, Finland only lost a little bit of territory. This made the Russians look weak sauce, which they were for now. Russia did manage to gobble up these Baltic countries as part of the deal with Hitler. Enjoy for now. Huh, what was that? Oh, nothing. At this time, the Norwegians wanted to remain neutral, but this would prove difficult. See, Germany was shipping iron ore from Sweden along the ice-free Norwegian coast. For a hot minute, the British thought about occupying Norway to prevent this, but then thought, nah, we can't do that. They're a white country. Let's just mine the coast instead. These mines forced German ships into international waters where they could be intercepted. One morning when the King of Norway is awoken and told, Your Majesty, we're at war, he asked, with whom? Is it a troll uprising? No, it's the Nazis, of course. Germany had launched a surprise attack through Denmark. They had no interest in fighting and surrendered within 6 hours. Then they moved on to Norway. The British had tried to aid in the defense of Norway, but they had made several blunders, allowing the Luftwaffe to gain air superiority, forcing the British to retreat. Shortly after, Norway surrendered. Frustrated and in poor health, Chamberlain resigns as the British Prime Minister. He is replaced by Winston Break Glass in Case of War Churchill. He is now free of glass and ready to kick some Nazi ass. And not a moment too soon, because that same day, Germany attacked France. In World War I, Germany had something called the Schlieffen Plan. And it went a little something like this. France and Russia had an alliance, and Germany knew they couldn't take both at the same time. So, the idea was to take out France with a surprise attack through Belgium before Russia could get its poop in a group. However, fighting got bogged down and they had to dig in, resulting in a 4-year stalemate. But this time, everybody was ready. The French had prepared a rock-solid defense known as the Maginot Line. However, didn't quite reach the sea, which made Belgium an obvious route. Poor Belgium was doing its best to remain neutral and stay out of the war. When the Allies are like, bro, Germany's going to attack you. Let us come into your country and prepare defenses. No, we are neutral and Germany will respect... To absolutely nobody's surprise, Germany attacked Belgium. One of the reasons Germany got bogged down in World War I was Belgium had well-prepared defenses. So these clever little Nazis used gliders and airborne to land behind the defenses. And that little move is called Blitzkrieg. Named after Blitzen of Santa Fe, because of the speed and violence he would attack naughty children. Mass panic caused refugees to surge west, slowing down the Allies. But even with this initial attack, the Allies had more than enough to stop the Germans. Vive la France. Well, not really. Vive la Blitzkrieg. Yes, speed was a major component of Blitzkrieg, but more importantly, it is to win without fighting. Identify a weak point and break through it. This little area right here, this is one such weak point. The Ardennes. It was defended by France's weakest divisions because it had been assessed as a natural defense. With thick ash trees and bootylicious hills, it was thought to be completely impenetrable by mechanized units, which was kind of true. The Germans had to funnel through a narrow pass, creating a traffic jam that stretched for miles. A French reconnaissance plane saw this traffic jam, but because the French high command was so confident this route was completely impenetrable, the reports were ignored. Had the French reacted to this intelligence, the Germans would have been completely at their mercy. So this completely impenetrable terrain gets completely penetrated by 50 divisions. Sacre bleu, the Germans have punched through. What? Punch through? Bring up your reserves and cut them off. You do have reserves, right? No. Do you want fascists in your country? Because this is how you get fascists in your country. With their backs to the sea, Belgian and French troops conducted delaying operations as the defensive perimeter was made at Dunkirk. Evacuation proves extremely difficult. There are no available docks to load ships. The men need to climb up cargo nets from smaller boats as the Luftwaffe strafes them. After the first night, only 7,000 of 400,000 men have been rescued, and the Germans will be there within the next 48 hours. With precious little time, a call to ships is put out. No one has the littles. Over 850 civilian boats sail into a combat zone to save their boys. Original estimates thought only 45,000 men would be rescued. In the end, over 330,000 lives are saved, including 100,000 French. But Churchill makes it clear, Dunkirk wasn't a victory, it was a triumph. Hitler successfully employed blitzkrieg tactics, but he had another secret to his success. Was it his grandmother's strudel recipe? I'll give you a hint, it's meth. A drug called Pervitin was used in Germany as a pick-me-up. The army issued this out like candy. Meth is the perfect drug for soldiers. It dulls empathy, makes you fearless, and eliminates the need for sleep.
Yes, science!
Hitler was killing it, and Mussolini knew he needed to act or he would be left out. He stated, "I only need a few thousand dead so I can sit at the peace conference as a man who fought." However, the Italian army was in shambles from campaigns in Spain and Africa. But Mussolini did manage to put a little dent in France before they surrendered. On June 14th, the 7th Panzer Division collected the first place trophy for the 1940 Tour de France. Hitler had done in 6 weeks what Germany had failed to do in 4 years in World War I. Then, in the most obnoxious goal celebration of all time, Hitler ordered the rail cart that was used in the 1918 treaty when Germany surrendered to be brought to the exact location and made France sign their surrender. Then he ordered the cart destroyed, symbolically undoing Germany's humiliation. The South became known as Vichy France, technically neutral, but in practice, a puppet state of Germany. Hitler had agreed not to use the French warships, but Churchill had a hard time believing Hitler for some reason. So, Churchill says to the French, "Give us your fleet, or glug, 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 glug." The French refused, so the British sailed to Algiers and sunk their ships. Most French colonies sided with Vichy, except for the French Equatorial Africa. France is down but not out. Exiled general and future president Charles de Gaulle becomes the leader of Free France, using England as a headquarters. Within occupied France, resistance groups continue to fight the Nazis with sabotage, espionage, and assassination. They will become critical assets to the Allies' invasion of Normandy years later. Britain was the only major European power left standing against the Nazi war machine. But that was a problem for another day. For now, Hitler enjoys a tour of Paris while he pats himself on the back.